Well, hello there. How is everyone? I hope you're all well on this Thursday. Just Thursday. You're looking amazing, by the way. And this is video 2 of 3 today. And we're just talking about different whys. And in this video why, the first one was Brian Koberger. This one is Kaylee and Maddy. We know that on that fateful night back in November 2022, Kaylee and Maddy were 2 of 4 that lost their lives at 1122 King Road. And one of the biggest questions when you're looking into crimes like this and trying to solve them, trying to find out why, trying to find out what happened, it's not fundamental to it, but it massively helps when you have a why. The why. Why these? Why did this person do this thing to these people? Because it answers so many questions. It's like with Brian Koberger. Brian Koberger is a guy who's been accused. He's the guy who's in the dock. We said it in video 1. And he could well be the guy. He could. But there are so many questions floating around this case. It ain't quite as clear cut as we would like it to be. It's not something where we can say, do you know what? He definitely did that. Some crimes offer that up, some don't. There have been situations in the past where, people have walked free who needed to be locked up and vice versa. But in the Idaho 4 case, there are so many questions, and a lot of the questions have been perpetuated by the actions and inactions of law enforcement and even people closer to the crime itself. I only have to say 8-hour delay, and you guys will know exactly what I mean. But look, we had 4 victims. And 2 of those victims were Kaylee and Maddy. And it would appear highly likely that Kaylee and Maddy were the first of the victims to be deceased. Because if you believe indeed that Dylan Mortensen saw what she saw and she watched the person leave, then it would appear that to make that feasible, she was seeing the person coming from Ethan and Xana's area and walking past and out via the kitchen. Because if that person would have been coming from Kaylee and Maddy, that would have been coming down the stairs, and we would have known that by now. So that tells you that this is likely the order with which things happened. So why these 2? Now, the things what raise eyebrows, raise questions, are the fact that Kaylee didn't live in this property. She didn't live there. She had left. She apparently had a room there still, but she had left. Now, we don't know why she left, because it was kind of mid-term. Term wasn't over. Yes, she had obtained another job elsewhere, but seemingly she could work from home. She could work from wherever she wanted, it would appear. I think that's what Steve Gonsalves had kind of alluded to. She had come back. It would seem that she came back specifically to see her friend, see Maddy, and show her her new vehicle that she'd bought, a new car. And, there's been much speculation around that car, but we're not here to speculate around the car. We're here to kind of speculate over why these 2 girls would be the first. Because you've got to look at it like this. I look at it like this house is over 3 floors, and the person comes in via the sliding door, and they choose to venture upstairs. So that was a choice. Now, you could say, and this is going to be controversial, because I look at it like this. When you're going to enter a house like this, I look at it from a military perspective. Someone with military training, I believe, would have chosen to either attack on the top floor, because they would have had a height advantage should anybody be roused. So if anybody's roused and they come up the stairs, they have height advantage. And I'm not sure, but I feel that could have potentially been a choice. The fact that It just happened to be on the top floor, and this person did want that height advantage in the event of this going wrong. But again, that's what makes me feel that this had a bit of a military precision to it, military thoughts. Because I feel that if the person had have come into the house and then gone down into the bottom floor, it would have almost given them some vulnerability, because you've then got 2 floors above them, more people. But maybe I'm reading into that too much. Maybe it was simply that they were after someone specifically and they knew where to go specifically. But why? What do we know? We don't know a great deal. All we know is that Kaylee didn't live there, but she was back there that one night. Now, is it that someone had tipped somebody off that Kaylee was there that specific night? And this had to happen on this specific night because she was there. She was there. And she wasn't going to be there after that night. Was it that somebody was watching the grub truck video, and that is what led them to understand who was in that house? We don't know. But ultimately, yeah, you've got a situation where Kaylee and Maddy are in the house and they're upstairs. Now, many people have speculated as to whether Maddy was indeed the target. And it's quite easy to believe that, because Maddy was the only one who should have been there that night. She's the one who lived there that night. And there has been speculation on the fact that Brian Coburg, or accounts under Brian Coburg's name, had liked her profiles and liked the pictures and commented and what. Well, I don't know whether there was comments, but certainly liking them. And there was speculation as to whether he had messaged in her DMs, slid into her DMs. But they had a presence online, and I would imagine that unless this was something else, because there's not really anything nefarious that seems to sit around these girls. There are the only things that are in the background of these are you've got to try and be careful there, haven't you? Because there are narcotics issues surrounding the families of these people, and you know you don't want to try and say that that's potentially why. Now, we have heard there's a potential that there was narcotics floating around that house. But would there have been enough of an issue to cause this kind of crime, this type of crime? Personally, I don't think so. And in video 3, we'll touch on that a little bit more, because I feel that the way in which this crime happened tells you a lot about what it was about and what it wasn't about. Now, there has been some speculation over the fact that some of these girls may have had an OnlyFans account. I know that in the past there has been, like a while ago, there was multiple things that were put under seal. You know, they want to seal Facebook, they want to seal Instagram, Snapchat, all of that. Even YouTube they wanted to seal. And I wondered whether the likes of... It was Get a Clue actually has done a video specifically about the fact that they've done a seal on YouTube. But I wondered whether this was when YouTube was specifically showing videos that potentially showed an OnlyFans account. Again, I'm speculating, but I can't think of any other real reason as to why they would seal YouTube unless there was specific information. And when you read through their reasonings for sealing it regarding privacy, etc., that to me fits hand in hand with the rumours around the time of the OnlyFans account. And maybe that is something where someone could have perhaps become fixated on someone like Maddy. But that's all. With regards to Kaylee and Maddy, my feelings would be that Kaylee potentially was simply collateral damage. I can't see of anything, and I know we've touched on the fact that Steve Gonsalves has got this brother who has been in trouble himself, and you know there's little bits and pieces. But Steve Gonsalves himself also made a comment regarding the fact that things would come out. things would come out and they would be seen as gross. And that sort of resonated with me, because I just thought to myself, what would you consider gross? You know, it was a strange word to use. And the only thing I could think of would be typically something that perhaps these students were doing for money that some people would interpret as, oh, that's a bit, do you know what I mean? That's not right, is it? But again, I could be wrong. But in terms of why Kaylee and Maddy, again, I do feel that there is a very high potential that Madison Mogan was likely the primary target of somebody going into that property. That's how I see it. If it played out, but the only thing that makes that make sense is if you 100% trust Dylan Mortenson's statement that she did physically see someone leave, and the person she saw leave was the person who committed the crime. Now, if that is not true, and that was a coerced statement, then that changes the entire landscape of the crime. Let me know down below. Do you trust her or do you not? And do you think that that is how it went? That Maddy was indeed the target? Let me know down below. I'll catch you all in video 3.